mass authorized for a certain aeroplane, not including fuel load and operational items. So pay attention to the word operational items. Maximum mass for some aeroplanes, including the fuel load and traffic load. So it includes fuel and traffic. Include is the main word here. Maximum permissible mass of an aeroplane with no usable fuel. No usable fuel is the important keyword here. So correct option is option Charlie. Option A is wrong because your maximum zero fuel mass is nothing but your dry operating mass plus payload. Dry operating mass plus payload. Okay. So that's it. So that is maximum zero fuel mass. So DOM plus payload, this maximum zero fuel mass will not have any usable fuel. The fuel that you are going to use in your flight will not have any usable fuel, but it does have a fuel called unusable fuel, which is inclusive of DOM. Okay, correction. Unusable fuel which is included in DOM, dry operating mass weight. So option A is wrong. Maximum mass for some aeroplanes including fuel load and traffic load. So like I said, it excludes fuel load. It excludes usable fuel. It includes unusable fuel. Okay, so Bravo is wrong. Charlie is the correct answer with no usable fuel. With no usable fuel. 32. Takeoff mass of an aeroplane is so and so. Traffic load is given. Fuel is given. What is dry operating mass? So it's a direct formula based question. Regulated takeoff mass equals to payload plus DOM plus fuel on board. Therefore, fuel on board will be equal to regulated takeoff mass minus payload plus DOM. Regulated takeoff mass is 1117. Payload is 18,000. Okay, we have to find out DOM, not fuel on board. So just change this. So payload plus fuel on board. What is fuel on board? Fuel on board is 46,000. So 117 minus 18 plus 46, 64. So 117 minus 64 is 53. So 53,000 kg is your dog, Charlie. Next. Takeoff mass is given, fuel is given, and this fuel is inclusive of reserve and unusable fuel. Traffic load is there. What is zero fuel mass? Remember, basic empty mass plus variable load gives you dry operating mass. Plus variable load means crew baggage, crew weight, what food, beverages. This is your variable load. Basic empty mass is inclusive of unusable fuel. It is inclusive of unusable fuel. Next, dry operating mass plus fuel on board, that is takeoff fuel, gives you operating mass. Dry operating mass plus payload gives you zero fuel mass. Next, operating mass plus payload gives you takeoff mass, and zero fuel mass plus fuel on board or takeoff fuel gives you takeoff mass. So there are two ways to get takeoff mass. Either follow this route or follow the second route. You can follow the third route where DOM plus useful load. Useful load is your takeoff mass. DOM plus useful load is your takeoff mass. Now what is useful load? Useful load is nothing but fuel on board, takeoff fuel plus payload. plus payload. This together makes load. Useful load. So there are three ways to get your takeoff mass. Now we have to find zero fuel mass. So what is zero fuel mass? Zero fuel mass is DOM plus payload zero fuel mass, or TOM, that is takeoff mass minus fuel on board, equals to zero fuel mass. So DOM plus payload is your zero fuel mass. Otherwise, takeoff mass minus fuel on board, that can also give you a value of zero fuel mass. So let's see. We have dry operating mass given to us. So we do not have dry operating mass given to us. So we cannot use this formula. Our second formula, TOM. Takeoff mass is there, yes. Fuel on board. Fuel on board means takeoff fuel. Now this fuel on board is your takeoff fuel. The fuel in fuel tanks of your aircraft when your plane is lined up with the runway. Now this takeoff fuel will include all kinds of fuel, flight fuel, reserve fuel, alternate fuel, unusable fuel, but it will not include taxi fuel because you will have burned your taxi fuel in traveling or in maneuvering your aircraft from parking area to the runway. So takeoff fuel will include all fuel components but the taxi fuel. So takeoff fuel is equal to it's given in the question 63,000 and it is inclusive of reserve and unusable fuel. Fine. So we are going to use this 63,000 kg here, and takeoff mass is 141. So 141 minus 63 is 78,000. So correct answer is option Charlie. 78,000 is the zero fuel mass. Now traffic load here is useless. Had they given us dry operating mass, we could have used dry operating mass and uh, traffic load to find zero fuel mass. Next, basic empty mass is there. Masses of other items like catering, safety rescue material is zero, not there. Flyaway material zero. Crew, inclusive of their baggage, is 365 kg. Okay, so like I said here, basic empty mass plus variable load. Now variable load is made up of these things: catering, safety material, flyaway materials, crew. Okay, so basic empty mass plus variable loads equals to your dry operating mass. So what is basic empty mass? 30,000 kg. Variable load is catering first. So add 300 also. So instead of adding 300, I divide it by 1000. I get it 0.3. You are also going to add crew weight. That is 365 kg. So 365 divided by 1000 is 0.365. So your DOM will be 30 plus 0.3 plus 0.365, 30,665. Next, fuel at takeoff is given, unusable fuel is given, passengers baggage cargo is given, dry operating mass. Now over here we have got 30,665 kg. Now to this we are also going to add unusable fuel. We are also going to add unusable fuel because that is also included in DOM. Okay, so 30,665 plus 120 is equal to 30,785 kg. So option A is the correct answer. Next, question 35. Maximum takeoff mass, landing mass, zero fuel mass are given. Taxi fuel, trip fuel, contingency, alternate fuel, reserve fuels are also given. What is the actual takeoff mass? So it is just a step one formula. We have to find actual takeoff mass that we are going to take off with. Meaning we have to find regulated takeoff mass. So step one, make three columns. One for takeoff mass, the second landing, the third one for the zero fuel mass. Takeoff mass given to us is 72,000. Landing mass is your maximum landing mass plus your trip fuel. What is the maximum landing mass given? 56,000. So 56 plus trip is 18,000. So 56 plus 18, 74. Zero fuel mass plus fuel on board. What is the maximum zero fuel mass? 48,000. Takeoff fuel or fuel on board is trip fuel. So takeoff fuel will exclude taxi fuel. Apart from taxi fuel, we are going to add trip fuel 18,000, contingency fuel zero point 0.9, alternate fuel zero point 0.7, and final reserve fuel 2,000. So takeoff fuel is 21.6. Now 48 plus 21.6 is 69.6. Now your regulated takeoff mass will be that mass which is the lowest of all these three values: 72, 74, 69.6. So the lowest value here is 69.6. So 69,600 becomes your regulated takeoff mass. Option Charlie. Question 36. Why are step cruise used on long distance flight? Now what is step cruise? It is, so you're going to climb to a particular altitude, then stay straight and level at that particular altitude for some time, burn some fuel, again climb, stay at that altitude straight and level for some more time, then again climb and go to your final altitude, final cruise altitude. So you're going to achieve your cruise altitude in step-by-step process. This is called step cruise climb or step climb. So the optimum cruise altitude, the perfect cruise altitude is increased. So as you keep burning your trip fuel, as you keep burning the fuel in your fuel tanks, the optimum cruise altitude that you can go to keeps on increasing. First it is 25,000, next it will increase to 28,000, then 32,000, so on and so forth. So it is increased as aircraft loses weight, and you are going to lose your weight owing to fuel consumption. Since it is impractical to perform a continuous slow climb during the cruise phase, a solution known as step climb has been established. Step climb is only used in long-haul flights, long-distance flights, and consists of climbing from time to time at a higher level in order to keep aircraft close to the optimum altitude. Okay. So, why are step crews used on long-haul flights? To fly as close as possible to optimum altitude as aeroplane mass reduces. Option A. Next. What is the effect of tailwind on the time to climb? So, let's say you want to go from 4,000 feet to 10,000 feet and you are flying in tailwind conditions. So, will this tailwind help you achieve your 10,000 feet altitude in much quicker time? Okay, or in much less time? Will that happen? No. The time to climb will still remain the same, whether you go in a headwind or you go in a tailwind. Okay, very important performance based question for ATPL as well. Next, optimum long range cruise altitude for a turbojet aeroplane is always equal to power plant ceiling, increases where aeroplane mass decreases, is independent of aeroplane mass. So, like I said, we just saw here, the optimum cruise altitude increases as aircraft loses weight owing to fuel consumption. So the answer to this question will be the optimum cruise altitude will keep on increasing step by step as aeroplane's mass decreases. You have filed a flight plan for an uncontrolled flight. Very important word is uncontrolled flight, and then suffered a delay prior to your departure. After how long a delay must you restate your OBT of board time, of block time? Okay, so in case of uncontrolled flight, you experience a delay of 60 minutes, in excess of 60 minutes of your off block time. You are going to cancel your old flight plan and install or put forth a new flight plan, or you are going to amend your old flight plan, whatever. So after how long a delay must you restate your off block time? So in case of uncontrolled flight, the time limit, the delay limit is 60 minutes. In case of controlled flights, it is 30 minutes, half an hour. Okay, so uncontrolled is 60 minutes. Question 40. What is the highest latitude listed here at which the sun will rise above the horizon and set every day? So the correct answer is 62 degrees. Remember this value. So this concludes our lecture. I hope you have understood all the 10 questions that I answered, explained, elaborated in this particular lecture. Keep practicing. Solve these questions on your own multiple times. The more you practice, more confident you become, more you get an idea of your speed, your time management, your strengths and weaknesses. So spend time on practicing. Spend more and more time on practicing questions. Again, I request you to share this video with all your friends who are preparing for the exam. Let them also know about this video or about this channel also. Hit the like button if you have liked this video lecture and subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you for your time. All the best.